that, but it was almost even a triple commit there from Sienna Heights. Might be a little bit of panic for them here on the offensive side. They're not really generating too much in the way of a meaningful attack. There have been a couple of that look like they've been in shooting positions, but I feel like they just never have somebody to try to take that final shot here.
No, but I really do like what UNT is doing with communication now. It doesn't seem like they have those double commits, and what I'm really liking the most is that when there are plays in which they don't need to clear it, those are being calmed, and they're taking their time, they're taking a dribble, and then it forces Sienna Heights, that third man, to really start saying, okay, well, now I'm not rushing a ball, now I have to wait for them, and getting put into these strange situations where I have to make very dire decisions, and if you're a third man there on defense, I suppose you'll just have to watch from the sidelines. Lucia getting a demo as the lead blocker, and D-Bank will be able to collect.
Yeah, that's just another situation, though, where Sienna Heights, you know, they sent their first player, they sent their second player, and this is an example of where North Texas kind of had their plan A work. And then they just decided that, oh, hey, look, there's a demo available, I'm going to go ahead and take it. But you saw the initial challenger didn't make contact with the ball, and it was still relatively under control there for UNT. They sent their second player, but the secondary wasn't close enough. It almost feels like they're not adhering to the same game plan that worked so well for them in the previous game. I don't know, maybe they just got a little bit overconfident and complacent, or if UNT kind of sped it up a little bit. It's not impossible, certainly. But either way, I think that still has to be the play here for Sienna Heights. You cannot afford to be sending people making completely unimpactful plays on the defense.
Oh no, and I do think that at least when you are trying to throw players forward, of course we talk so much about the purpose. You have to actually have something built up, and I think right now Sienna Heights almost feels like it's like an animalistic type nature. They just see a ball, they have to make sure they touch it, but I don't fairly see the next step. And I think when they do have time to build, like we saw in that previous game, they really ran with it. But now that UNT is answering back, I think the main thing that we were somewhat teasing UNT about, having plan A and no plan B, is somewhat what Sienna Heights is doing. You can see this experimentation phase they're going through, maybe slowing it down, maybe trying to go for a 50, and it's not working. So I'm not necessarily saying this is going to be a game you have to take the L, but the way things are going, it's just going from bad to worse. These demos continue raining down, and they need to make something count and quick. They only got 50 seconds. How about 11 with a double tap? Tritone says no, shuts the door. What a prediction.
Well, I guess if you only have a little bit of coverage, you may as well go for it and just hope that the offense shoots it right at you. And, well, it works out for them. I mean, for Sienna Heights, that has to be a devastating miss on that one, though. I mean, I say miss, but I don't really think there's anything much more that 11 could have done about that one. Of course, the placement could have been a little bit better, but even in those situations, it's incredibly hard to do. Now Lucia in the 1v1, just trying to force as much resources out of the Sienna Heights defense as they could possibly get in there, doing a swell job right now. D-Bank with a 50 at the midfield line. This goes right over to Lucia yet again, off on the backboard, and Decay's forced into action now. The final 10 seconds, there's almost no control here for Sienna Heights. UNT relentlessly making gap closures here in the corner, forcing awkward touches out of Sienna Heights. And it will be enough to put this game away. We're tied up moving into game 5.
Well, anyone worried about a close series is, or really a series where they're getting blown out and not a close series, is going to be disappointed somewhat, but I would say this is exactly what I wanted to see out of the series. Both teams really struggling to get a foothold. Every single time you think something is at a turning point, we get into this next game and then the other team has some answer for them. We're 2-2 going through this series, and it's really going to be tough to see what's it's going to take to separate these two teams. At the end of the day, it seems like we always talk about, well, how efficiently are you taking your chances? It seems like one team just has their day. They're just a shooting gallery. They're doing it. And then the next game they struggle. So I don't know if that's just pure adjustment at that side, or at what point we're going to reach a break even where we're going to have to start to see those demos. Something you had mentioned had not reared its head too much. But at least for right now, it's a very entertaining series. And I'd like to see it continue, but it's hard to even make predictions at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, when looking at it, right, you mentioned it, it's basically like this back and forth dance of which team is getting more achievement out of the challenges. And I mean, that really is a very fundamental breakdown of Rocket League at its core. Of course, the team that's getting more achievement out of their challenges is generally going to be the one that wins. But you get the idea, right? You know, it just seems like the logical next. A nice little bump there from Tritone. Oh, but the double commit! Oh, that leaves it completely open. That was a huge heads-up play from Tritone, but then the easy play on the back end was just don't double commit. And they failed on every aspect of that.
And this is the thing that I've been talking about. As I mentioned, man, I really like how UNT looks, specifically because it's one-to-one ball to man, and they're touching it without really any confusion. On this one, that almost felt like a play that D-Bank knew they had to get to immediately, so they went and they didn't call it. Then Lucia, since there was no call, maybe thinking, okay, well, I don't need to call that, I can cover that, and then it's just a double commit. It's just tiny things like that. I just don't understand how that slips through. It's not even a high-pressure situation, but of course, it's like one of those things. If one of them goes, it's not a problem. If both of them go, then suddenly it's just a calamity.
Of course, and when you're playing against a team like Siena Heights, they were trying to bait in a touch from the opposition, such as this one right here. And when that is the case, of course, you know, that double commit is going to be absolutely deadly. A nice little touch out of the corner there for D-Bank, although I really wonder what the follow-up is going to be here for goal number 1, because obviously we talk about the importance of having the lead in these kinds of games for your mental. But I feel like it's particularly applicable for teams like this who can be very analytical at times. Speaking of Decay, down here to fade it, but denied on the goal on Tritone. Yet again, making a clutch save for their team. It was that double tap away from 11 in the last one. And here again, right on the goal line, Lucia makes a little bit of contact here. But I gotta hand it to Tritone. They have been phenomenal keeping pace with some of the high-level players in this lobby.
And of course, we mentioned Tritone a lot, and I don't mean to really demean their skill level. It's just that they're stepping in the shoes of Too Fast, who is, by all accounts, a CRL legend within their own right. Yes. So they are coaching now, and Tritone has been able to go in, and that was always the big concern, is like, can they hang in here? And it's not necessarily a player that you'd find at SSL or in insanely high lobbies, but ever since I've seen them, their rank has inflated. They've gotten to the point where they are certainly a valid member of the starting roster, as well as someone who's pretty fearsome in ranks. So I think to be able to see them fit in is certainly heartwarming. You don't want to see UNT fade away, and clearly some nice generational levels of talent here, and so far they're making them proud by making this deep run into NACE. However, might be stopped if they can't stop Siena Heights here. This is a 1-goal lead, and might even grow, because you don't like to see any of them with space and time in the air. Decay, though, gets a bit more resources, falls short, and 11's gonna have to dig it out of the corner.
Close call there as well. Tritone had to bail out D-Bank on that one. We'll be able to play this one away. D-Bank now with Lucia as the wingman. That's just a little bit too far afield for them, though. Let's have to settle for a bit of a giveaway here over to Siena Heights. We're just past halftime in this one. And of course, the lead still sitting with the boys in blue. But it doesn't really feel like it's too solid. Of course, we mentioned how it was a notable and unnecessary double commit on the UNT side that generated goal number 1 against. And while it may have been unfortunate, it doesn't feel like it's an earned goal necessarily for Siena Heights. Like I said, in game 1, you know, being able to punish is very important, but you got to be able to generate opportunities of your own. Thankfully for UNT, to be able to play this one away actually twice in succession. D-Bank with a little bit of extra contact there to get it out. Actually towards the net now. It's looking a little bit dicey. Oh my god, what a read from 11s! How in the world do you have the ice in your veins to touch that to the corner?
I need to see 4 different replays from 4 different angles. I have no idea how not only they react to that, but get that save. This doesn't really matter. We know it's a save. We'll just have to accept that fact and move on. So too will UNT. I thought that was it. I can't imagine what they're feeling. Now they got 80 seconds to try to come up with something new.
Absolutely. They've been locked to their half for quite some time now. They're trying to find a clearance here, and 11, that might be the first bad touch that we've seen in a while here from SHU. Lucia, speaking of, is going to respond in kind of one of their own. Baited, actually losing out on that challenge. Lucia, downfield, forces 11s to throw that one up high. This is still playable for UNT. D-Bank with the flip reset. Not enough boost to make anything happen with that one, though. Tritone looking in the back line for some bumps. UNT finally look like they're starting to get set up on the offensive side, and of course, right as I say that, it's back across the mid with Vega leading the way. Lucy in a tough spot, not enough contact here to get away from Decay, but they cannot get it inside of the uprights and below the crossbar. We'll continue to play here, still 1-0 into the final 30 or so seconds.
Lucy a high hit, faded likewise into the ceiling. D-Bank tries for control, they're not gonna find it, faded. They're dancing past 2, can they get past a 3rd? They have some boost with them, taking it to the sky, and going to be met by UNT defender. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter, Squid. It's 18 seconds. UNT has to score, if not on this attack, then the next, but take that one. Apparently the next proximal play, because they've just wasted this one. 8 seconds going all the way across court. Tritone gonna get cut out by Faded. Is this the exclamation point? It is 2-0. That's gotta be game. And looks like Siena Heights is gonna be taking the lead in this series.
Well, I can't say that I'm surprised based off of the pattern that we've seen so far, Taco. You know, it's been a textbook series of Rocket League, strangely enough. Siena Heights won the first one, and then North Texas won, and then Siena Heights won, and then North Texas won, and then Siena Heights won again. So I feel like that being the case, that being the case, Faded for a second, thought it was best of 5. Not quite Faded, but yeah, no, I feel pretty confident that UNC is going to find a way to get back into this one. I mean, even here in the dying moments, again, we talked about goal number 1 was a double commit. It was an error on their part, completely unforced. And then they had some offense of their own near the end of the game, which is very reminiscent of Game 1. There's literally nothing surprising about this game so far. It feels just like a rehash, like a rerun of Game 1 at this point.
Yeah, and I think the interesting aspects of this game is that you bring up Game 1, and I think that's a great analysis to have, specifically just because, yes, it does just feel kind of like this isn't where we're seeing this team peak. It's just saying, oh, a ball popped out, we scored. And then since then, there's always the mental aspect of it. As soon as you give up a silly goal like that, if I'm on the side of UNT, the first thing I'm saying is, well, of course that goes in. Well, whatever. I mean, we got 4.5 minutes, but then it never gets better. And that's always the issue, is that sometimes that is the only goal that goes through, and that's the goal that ends up being the game winner. So when you minimize those mistakes, obviously, most cliche statement is always, oh, well, the team with the fewest mistakes. But really, it does come down to that. Usually, yeah, you can afford to make some or one or two, but when you're at the top level of really any esports scene, specifically collegiate or that RLCS level, you make that mistake and it's punished, you might not be able to claw your way back. So UNT plays their best when they're able to isolate those mistakes. They're able to make sure that it's just one-to-one, get those clears, and then use their speed, but you don't want to be used as a weapon against you. So now with the backs against the wall, we've seen them trade games, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is a set pattern. Siena Heights very much could end this one here in the next 5.
I have absolutely zero faith that that's going to happen. I believe in my boys on the UNT side. Taco's trying to push the narrative. I don't believe in it at all. You may as well just come back in 5 minutes, because you know that UNT is going to have taken this win. But
that's
yeah,
a squid guarantee right there.
That's a squid guarantee, which is basically worth absolutely nothing. My predictions are almost always wrong, but we'll see how things change here as we now get started in game number 6. Which actually has been a rather historic ending place for a lot of the teams so far this bracket. And 11's a nice bump here against D-Bank. We'll have the opener.
Talk about unsavable. Decay throwing that forward. 11's sets that and immediately launches into the airdrop bomb. D-Bank is backpedaling, and I can't even imagine what's going through their head. Probably just sheer panic. I'm assuming if this comms are just them yelling, because how are you supposed to stop that? That is a flawless setup from 11's, and it speaks to really Siena Heights obviously being a good team, but individually these players can pop off, have those solo moments.
Ooh, oh, what? They can pop off and have those solo moments, and then they can also do that. I don't know what in the world that was. D-Bank, a massive win up by here against 11's. Tritone up. That one's not really going to generate anything. I don't know. It looks so promising for a second. D-Bank with a pre-tip there against Faded. I don't know what in the world is going on so far here in this game. All I know is that Siena Heights has the lead. They're going to try their darndest to hold on to it again. They are only 3 minutes and 48 seconds for a top 3 placement here in the NACE Starleague, which is a very impressive performance indeed, considering that our top 2 right now are Northwood and Stockton.
Certainly going to have to be quite the battle. Of course, that is not a fun thing to be able to play this game and then have to move forward and face off against Northwood. However, at least when we are looking at this game, I think we are certainly seeing the highlights of both teams, but I don't think either of them are really reaching their peaks for clear reasons. Obviously, they're dropping games. We've been talking about mistakes on both sides. We're talking about them really getting penned down, but I think that's really just something that they have to isolate into this one series. These are weird teams to play against. They all bring something different to the table, and at least for right now, I think we're starting to see us settle back into those really close, even-knit games where it's really just going to come down to those one goals and making sure that you keep your 50s clean, kind of like Lucia right there. And another one from D-Bank, maybe isolating 11's on a 1v1, but only going to be able to take them out on a demo.
Tritone Yeah, that one away from baited. Oh, Decay, that's probably not the touch they were looking for. We'll go over to 11s first. So thankfully for Sienna Heights, there's no immediate punish on that one, but UNT might get some zone time out of this. D-Bank for the close shot, cannot get inside of the post. There was a bit of coverage there on the defensive side either way. Still a little bit dicey there for Sienna Heights. Taki, you mentioned the mistakes that we've been talking about. Feels like UNT are honestly the primary perpetrators of that. However, of course, every single situation has been an explicit mental battle between 3, 4, maybe even just 2 of the players on the field, or sometimes even the players battling against themselves. We've seen some relatively open net misses. In particular, I remember a redirect a couple of games ago from Lucio that didn't find its way in. This is going to be a nice save here from Trito. Blocking that shut off at the source. Good force there by Lucio. Allows D-Bank to get some space and time downfield. Maybe even a shot angle. Will be denied by 11s, but it's still down in front. And Decay going to be the first one there. We just need UNT to get that one final touch on target to beat out the defense in a critical moment. We can have a game on our hands.
I need UNT to get their boost figured out. You saw D-Bank beat a bunch of people, there's no goal, but of course Lucia's gonna do it and try to learn from that mistake. Able to put that one through. I was about to complain, but oh, I guess I can rejoice. We got a tie game, 99 seconds to go, and looks like UNT finally being able to use that pressure to its full extent. And Sienna Heights, the first time they really get stretched to the brink, they're gonna get pay a heavy price.
Just what the doctor ordered. I mean, well, I guess that would more apply to whatever you say. Give it 3 years. But in any case,
that doctor will be mine soon enough.
soon. You'll have to change your name to Dr. Taco. I will not let you keep your IP the same. Either way. Final 90 seconds here. UNT, they had the previous response to Lucia. Wants blood out of Faded. They won't end up finding it. Tried done with 0 boost anyways, but never going to get that one towards the target without having some contest from behind. Still looking a little bit dicey here. I really feel like this is going to fall down to whoever has the first prolonged possession in this game. We haven't had an overtime just yet. I don't necessarily think that we're going to get one here, though. As we continue to play. Nice little fake out there by D-Bank with the cutoff to the side. Again, 11s is there. This shot from Tritone looks deadly, but it's not quite enough. A cutoff will be made, and the defense holds strong.
Lucia needed a great challenge there, and they're going to get it. 11s, they're getting interfered with. He's going to get bumped out of the way. It's Tritone. Goal number 2 for himself. Goal number 2 for UNT. And potentially, they're ticking into a Game 7.
They have been disappointed with their lack of ability to execute, so they brought out the demos, they brought out the bumps, and Tritone knew exactly where to throw that ball. Even with a defender in the net, they did not think to critical of moments. And now Game 7, one of these teams will advance to playoff against Northwood here next. One of these teams will go home.
Yeah, and also just look at how the stats always change. We have had games where it's really just a team, I would say, clutching the post and hoping for the best as just shot keeps coming in and in and in. But now we're down to the point where instead of seeing like 17, 18, 19 shots in a game, that last game, both teams really only had 4. It was 4 to 6. In the comparison from Sienna Heights to UNT. So now a lot more play is happening in the midfield. There's a lot more cutoffs. And I think it's not necessarily the teams getting used to each other, but I think there's a key understanding that we can't just park the bus and hope for the best. Both these teams have the ability to get all involved. And the one development I'm loving from UNT is using that aggression to specifically spin through that back end and slap around a defender. That's been a couple times now where Sienna Heights has been completely blindsided by that.
Yeah, Sienna Heights has not engaged in the physical play either. I think that's something worth noting. So it's kind of the question of, can UNT generate those opportunities on the physical side before they end up making those slight mistakes that we've been seeing from them throughout the entire series, Taco. And of course, the pattern holds strong here. It has been back and forth. Siena Heights takes one, UNT takes one, all the way up until Game 7. It is up to North Texas to see if they can finally break the cycle and take this victory.
So we're going to start with a D-Bank long clear, met by Faded, but not for long. D-Bank, no double tap. Tritone is there. It's off of the post. Nearly a banger to open us up, but looks like the post continuing to play villain. It has plagued UNT throughout this series. Maybe not for much longer. Lucia beats it right back out, and there is that UNT early opener.
Suddenly the alarms have to be going off here for Siena Heights. This is the same situation we talked about earlier. Is playing with the aggressive first man, but having the secondary prepared. And UNT, they just dove right in on that with Lucia. They got more than they bargained for. They just turned it into a goal. Siena Heights did not have the structure on the back line to deal with that. I don't think they expected it to turn into such a quick opportunity there for UNT. Now they find themselves at the deficit. This shot on target denied by Tritone yet again. They've been doing so much work on the defense. It feels like they've been making almost all of the saves in recent memory. We'll have to make another one here. If they did just lobbing that one towards the target, it's not going to register as a shot or a save on the scoreboard. UNT will field this one at the mid. 1 minute gone. They only need to do 4 more if they want to move on to face off against Northwood.
D-Bank will take an adequate 50. It's going to force Faded to somewhat throw that down. Tritone no touch. Lucia straight up. Looks like an air dribble. Now D-Bank, quick follow. Gonna slow that one down. I like that play. That flick, I think, got away from him, but Tritone's able to get it regardless. Double tap, keep it interesting. Faded into 11. That looks like an open clear. Not gonna take it. So instead, D-Bank just have to tap that to the sideline and then follow it up into a 50-50. So very close strategic play opening up here. But Siena Heights, they just don't have that follow through. We were really applauding them for the second hand rotations, but now they're relying on him even more so. That's a lead blocker even at that one. Gonna go wide. What a crucial moment that could turn out to be.
That could haunt 11s for the rest of their days if they don't take this one, but Faded won't clear here. Or at least see them back into the offensive path. They've got to get somebody up for this right now, and they will find a challenger. Against Siena Heights, they absolutely need a vital component of their offense so far. Has been sustained pressure along with repeated shots on target. They cannot afford to make any attacks without both of those elements to their gameplay. And of course, they were unable to execute in the critical moment on the last go-about. As we approach halftime here, they're going to need something else. Faded over to 11s. Good shot on target. D-Bank is there. Decay still in the zone, beaten out by Tritone. They do make a solid challenge on the ball. They realize they couldn't take that shot, so they'll keep this one playable. 11's the angle. Oh, seemingly out of nowhere, they make it happen. It's 1-1.
That is the predator instinct you need when you're on offense. 11's, by all accounts, this should be Lucia's clear, but the moment they realize Lucia seems to be playing that a bit too far away, maybe they don't have the boost, let's try a shot. That is the doom for a UNT. I appreciate what Lucia was doing. It convinced me for a moment, but apparently it's going to take a bit more to get past 11's. Nice tying goal, and now we very much have a Game 7 on our hands.
Oh boy. Pitch out to the side. Nice little clearance here for D-Bank. Lucia, oh, I love that idea there from Lucia, even with 0 boost. Still trying to use that wave dash to get back on the ball. Touchdown here. Oh, bit of a misplay there on the Siena Heights side. Now down in the middle. Decay will be able to clear that one away. UNT, you can tell they do not want to risk overcommitting in this kind of a scenario. They cannot afford to let a silly goal be the end of them at this point. They're still on the attack. Tritone off the back wall. Nobody's immediately available from the SHU side, but they do get it away. Now 11's downfield. The 1v1. The demo's not there. Decay denied his second time by D-Bank. Redirected out towards the corner, where we've seen both these teams so many times inside of 90 seconds, and this is no less pressure than what we've seen all series long here, Taco.
Yeah, D-Bank will be able to clear it temporarily, but gonna need it to remain that solid figure in the backfield. Certainly see Siena Heights starting to get aggressive, so too on that defensive rotation. They nearly got caught out of that long clear. Tritone still able to keep it interesting. No double tap. Decay opts for a touch. D-Bank, one more chance. No double. 11th, they're backwards. Lucia is not. The counterattack to 11th. The 1-2-1. Decay off the post. 11th gets it to go with 1 minute on the clock.
Oh my goodness, Siena Heights here. I mean, it's a beautiful team play, but I swear, if that didn't go in, I would have thrown something across the
Right
room.
along with you. Right
Oh
along
my
with you.
goodness. 57 seconds to go. UNT has to come up in the clutch here. They've got Lucia to lead the way, trying for the 1v1. Not past 11s. D-Make the follow-up is difficult, but still saved. Tritone cannot make the play on the follow-up. He's been coming up clutch so many times before, but not able to make that one there. And even more time ticking off the clock here as UNT marches towards elimination.
D-Bank, that's a brilliant challenge, but it's going to go too far. Tritone keeps it alive. D-Bank needs a key 50, not going to grab it. Fate is just chase it down. At this point, it's clock management time. Or Sienna Heights, or maybe some defensive time. That's uncontested. It's Lucia denied by 11s. The hero on both sides of the ball. If that's the last true opportunity, UNT maybe got one more with time on the clock.
Oh, it's a long clear for 11s. D-Bank, a good touch out to the sidewall. Past to K, looking towards the mid, but Faded is there for a denial. The final second burns away. It's Tritone. Who else but the rookie in control? Over top of 11s towards the mid, but they've got nobody to support. And Sienna Heights will move on to face off against Northwood. And Taco, what a story it has been here for the losers semifinal. UNT, the veteran team, with the rookie coming in, taken down by the rookie team. And oh my goodness, I just could not be happier. Either outcome at this point would not make me more satisfied. I think the only thing I could have asked for here would be an OT. A 0 second there from UNT would have been insane, much less with Tritone leading the way. Oh my goodness, that I don't know. I'm just elated.
I think with a follow-up, that could have been a goal. Decay was really going back. It almost felt like they were on like that 10 boost type of area. They just desperately had to hit it down, spike it down, and maybe that could have been dug. But ultimately, we're just writing fan fiction at a certain point. That's not what happened. Unfortunately, that is going to be UNT. It's going to fail down. Granted, it would have been great be able to go into OT, maybe see how that plays out in Game 7, though Sienna Heights earning that play. And of all ways to get back in, that 1-2-1 into the post and then pour through. I mean, that is drama to the fullest. But it's also that cohesion. We were applauding how deadly they look on offense, and to have really the presence of mind to do that on a breakaway when it might just be simpler to try the 1v1 or go for the bump it's really something to behold.
Yeah, I could not be more happy with how things have developed for UNT as time has gone on. I mean, there's a lot of quality teams in this bracket. For them to come here and place in 4th, you know, it's certainly not the best result we've ever seen UNT pull. But considering how the roster has been shaken up so many times here in recent history, it's a great result. And I cannot wait to see what they can do. The last chance qualifier is still coming up. They did make it in, obviously, because they were in league play for CRL. And of course now, with Sienna Heights making it through here to the 3rd place spot guaranteed in NACE Starleague, they will also be in the last chance qualifier. So this is just insane to think about here coming up to the future. But I just love the story here for UNT. I love the story of Tritone, and this is what makes CRL so great for me. You know, we talk about the fact that we can see upcoming teams and upcoming talent, but we also see, you know, returning teams with upcoming talent like Tritone. Like, they were thrust into a position that they were not prepared for, and they have grown into it just about as rapidly as you could possibly ask for anybody else. But that all being said, you know, I'm not going to ramble here for too long. We do want to continue forward, and we do want to give a shout out to the LLS hero of the game, of course, one of our biggest sponsors and partners. LLS is making an impact in the cancer community, which includes leukemia survivor Jaden. Prior to his T-cell leukemia diagnosis, Jaden was a well-rounded athlete playing almost every sport. After a series of symptoms, which included an arm fracture and terrible headaches, he was seen by several doctors who provided the devastating news of his leukemia diagnosis in November of 2018. He immediately began aggressive chemotherapy and regular spinal tap. Today, Jaden is 15, in remission, remaining health, and is an honor roll student. He's a proud brother to 6 siblings. 6 siblings, that's quite a few. Ball boy for his high school football team and loves to play Madden on his PS4. LS provided life-changing support to Jaden and his family, and they are forever grateful. Alongside this hero in Jaden, we recognize the LS hero of the game as the player that made the biggest impact in the match played, whether it was a clutch play, a sacrifice, or providing strong leadership when it mattered most. Today's LS hero of the game is going to be Faded. Welcome, sir. Or wait, do we not? Okay, I thought we were already here. We got him. Welcome, Faded. Sir, it's wonderful to see you here in the top 3. How are you feeling after that victory?
Well, All right, we're gonna have to recap. Well, they're keeping us in suspense right there as we figure out the some microphone issues there. And it is a nice player to talk to, I think, because Faded was certainly the reason actually I know about Sienna Heights in general is that when they first formed, that was tweets coming out saying, "Man, we're ready to really hit that scene and be able to get into that." So it's only fitting that we're going to be able to play with them, particularly because they are certainly going to be an interesting team going into the next semester. I think they learned their lesson in qualifiers and a lot of tournaments, seeing the depth of talent around, but I think this is a decent run that they've made so far for themselves.
A decent run, yeah. I'd say decent might be an understatement, Taco. I'm not sure if I'm good. I am excited to see how they perform against Northwood. I think everybody, of course, wants to get a shot at the big bad of the CRL space, but we will be able to get thoughts now that we have Faded on the line. Welcome, sir. This time,
Hey guys.
you can actually tell us how you feel about things.
Oh, I feel pretty normal. I expect nothing but greatness out of myself. So,
All right. Well, it's good to have confidence, but first things first. You made it to the top 3 here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about how CRL is going to shape up, but Northwood next. Everybody wants a shot at Northwood. We were talking to Arcadia. They lost against UNT. What are your thoughts? What do you think about your odds against this absolute titan?
Well, we've been slowly figuring out how they play. We have our own little play style we want to try out against them that we think will work. Last time we used it, we lost Game 5 overtime. They scored on us 11 seconds left to tie it up. So I think we have a shot if we just play well. But we'll see. Haven't beat them yet. Maybe today's the first time.
All right. I think that's certainly everything that we're starting to see, and I think we're certainly starting to see, I would say, the cracks in the armor when it comes to Northwood, because I think a lot of the people, especially laymen to the collegiate scene, view Northwood as like really this unbeatable Goliath. But of course, we've seen them getting taken to the brink several times. We've seen them obviously lose in competitions like that, and like yourself, it's because the gap has started to close. I mean, Sienna Heights, you are put together a roster. It didn't quite work out for you for qualifiers, but since then, you've had a string of successes, obviously getting to this guaranteed third place finish within NACE Starleague. And I want to talk about how you guys really coped with that going into the season, feeling like you had to have a pretty solid roster underway. And how has it been, that journey, learning about the depth of the scene, coming to where you are now?
Well, when me and 11s first came into CRL, we didn't expect it to be very difficult because of all the stereotypes that you'd hear on Twitter and stuff about how it was a Champ 2 league. Then we didn't make it, so that was a little bit of a reality check, I'd say. And ever since we did make it, I don't know, we've been playing a lot more of the game, trying to improve ourselves, make it so it'll never happen again, and it won't.
Well, I hope to all the people who are talking trash about CRL on Twitter, this kind of serves as a little bit of a slight wake-up call there. But I mean, on that note, of course, like I said, I want to take a look forward here. Obviously, I know you guys have to prep up for your next match here, which is going to be, again, on stream here in just a moment. But talk to me about what you're thinking about next season for CRL or potentially even the LCQ. Because obviously North Texas, they are a pretty good team looking forward into the last chance qualifier. I'd give them a non-zero chance of making it to Worlds. But if you guys are able to take them down, there's no telling what kind of damage you could do there. I think you guys have a really good shot of making it into Worlds. Do you have any thoughts on that? Have you been prepping up for that moment, or have you been trying to take it one step at a time?
We've been taking most things one step at a time, not really looking too much into the future, mainly just our next game. Whatever our next game is, we try to think, oh, how can we win this one? Everyone plays different. If you can play to their weakness, you can win anything, especially Northwood. Got a grudge against
and I
them.
like answers like that. Particularly, I'm always curious about as well is Sienna Heights as a program. I guess I see you guys are sitting in chairs and just over your shoulder. I mean, you got a jersey on. You also have a logo on a chair. And are you in a facility? Like, what is the ecosystem like for esports at Sienna Heights? Do you feel like you guys are properly vetted and prepared to be able to take on all these quality opponents?
Yeah, we're in our little esports facility that we have. It's pretty nice. There's a good amount of computers. Everyone's in here all the time. Everyone's pretty nice. Everyone's friends. It's a good environment. It's a lot nicer than like chilling in my room. It's people supporting and stuff every time.
I mean, speaking of people supporting you, we want to give you a chance here before we let you go and obviously get prepped up for the next match. Give any shout-outs or anything you want to say to anybody in the audience out here tonight?
I'll shout out Sosa. He made it so I didn't quit the game. So it's always cool. Shout out.
There you go.
Shout out. I don't know. This guy next to me, 11th. He's cool.
11th,
it.
I guess. I don't know. Just one of the guys.
Yeah, I guess.
I like the
who
idea
is-
of just like
he's
looking
alright.
around the room, like, that guy over there. I don't know him,
I
but
guess,
shout out
you
to
know.
him. Thanks for the support.
Whoever that dude is, apparently he was on my team last match.
Yeah.
I don't know, some random guy.
The guy out the window over there.
Yeah.
Shout out that guy too.
Exactly.
I mean, on the note of like talking about Sosa though, I mean, we saw him like posting on Twitter, I think, about maybe getting the CRL. Did I see that wrong? That's all I'm saying. All right. You know, I'm not gonna say anything. I'll
Squid
try
wants
to pick your
leaks,
brain.
that's all he wants.
I'll pick your brain on that later.
I can't.
We're gonna let you go for
Can't
now.
say much.
Yeah. We'll let you go for now and
Smart
get ready for Northwood there. So thank you so much for joining us and good luck in your next match.
Yep. Thank you.
Oh,
I'm
I'm on the same way. I want those leaks too, but
I need the
unfortunately,
info.
we can't have that because there is rumors that Sosa and Money, who are two players who are currently signed to professional teams, are looking to build a squad to compete in college. But that's not what we're doing. We just have to really make sure that we can learn that in time, and then we'll have time to process it. And speaking of processing, lovely to talk about the processors and really all the graphics options available for one of our sponsors for the NACE Starleague before we throw you guys to break. It's AMD, because there's performance to rule your game and to rule the league, and we're so excited to have AMD as the official graphics card of the NACE Starleague. It's introducing the AMD Radeon RX 6000 series graphics cards. It's featuring breakthrough AMD RDNA 2 architecture, engineered to deliver the ultra-high performance, ultra-high resolution, visually stunning gaming for all. So with AMD, NACE Starleague are powering the next generation of gaming, and you can check them out at AMD.com. I love my AMD processor, really AMD everything in my computer. So naturally, always fun to have them as a sponsor of NACE Starleague, giving us that fantastic series. We saw best of 7, and hopefully we can see something even remotely as fun, Squid, in our grand final.
Yes, sir. But we do have to take a short break while we get that one set up. Of course, we want to let the wonderful players on the Siena Heights side take a little bit of a break as well. But we will be back shortly again. It's the lower final, Northwood in Siena Heights. You won't want to miss it. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. More NACE Starleague playoffs here on the Rocket League side. Once again, it's myself, your favorite cephalopod, and your favorite particularly hazardous Mexican ethnic food over there in the booth with me, which I have to say, we're having a great time here. We had Game 7 between UNC and Siena Heights. Siena Heights did come out on top, and now they have to face off against the big bad uns in Northwood here on the lower finals. Taco, this is going to be a good one. I absolutely cannot wait to get this one underway. And of course, it's New Blood that didn't even make it to the CRL, find themselves facing off against the undisputed titans of the entire league.
Yeah, it feels weird because part of me wants to say there's a Cinderella run, but that's assuming that that team had no business being here, and that's really not the case for Siena Heights. There's so much talent on that team. So, of course, facing off against Northwood, it's a spectacular showing from them and being able to then also get Northwood that got a little shocked. They went into that upper final that we had broadcasted. They lost to Stockton, nearly pulling off a reverse sweep. So, clearly, they're very much in this, but at least for Northwood University, that lobby or that information that we know about that roster and how much it's changed up. We're really gonna have to see if Lion Blaze is in the lineup like it does have in this card. That is one thing, but as we've seen, sometimes they are not going to be in there. When Lion Blaze is in there, that statistic that always spoke to me at the end of CRL League play, 84% win percentage when Lion Blaze is on the field,
yes,
game to game, which is disturbing. So if they're not here, then that's certainly going to be a tough one. Siena Heights really gonna have to watch out for themselves.
All I'm gonna say is, when Pirates was competing in place of Lion Blaze, when they played up against Stockton, they took an L. It's not that hard to say. Ooh, all right, okay, all right. This is an interesting development. So we just had their players join the lobby. Taco.
Yes.
We do have Lion Blaze. We got Buddy and Pirates on the flank though. So a little bit of a change up. Again, Pirates not a bad player, but it's all about Lion Blaze. You know, we talk about that, and 11's in the chat instantly says cringe. Wow. Okay. That's a little bit toxic.
That's one thing to say, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is going to be a fantastic final. It is our lower final to determine who goes up into the grand final to face off against Stockton. And before we really get into it, of course, we want to thank out these sponsors that we do have. We mentioned a couple, but of course, Medify is a great one. So if anyone wants to get to this point, if you're inspired to play Rocket League, as I always am when I'm casting or being able to watch it on broadcast, you can hit up coaching services like Medify. Medify offers high-quality 1v1 coaching with some of the top players and coaches from really a bunch of different esports. We talk about Rocket League, CSGO, Call of Duty, all these different games that we really broadcast here on NACE Starleague, but really any esport you can possibly think of, Medify has coaches for them. There's a powerful replay review tool in which you can send footage of your gameplay and coaches can annotate it, give you notes, and even if you don't have time to meet for an in-person meeting, you just send them replays and get feedback later on, and they can really be suited for all of your different needs. And of course, if you're an esports program at a collegiate space and you want to be able to train up your team and you don't feel like you have the capacity to do it yourself, Medify is also a tool that you can use to be able to hire coaches of high quality at the pro level or right below to be able to help out your squad grow and be able to get those dubs and be able to get to at least this point here when you do have this situation here when you're in the lower finals trying to face off against Northwood. And I think thank you to Medify for being able to provide all that sponsorship to us, and of course we're grateful for it. And as casters, we're grateful to be able to have this match nearly underway to determine who's going to be going up. Is it going to be the Northwood Revenge Tour, or is Siena Heights going to pull a rabbit out of the hat?
Yes, that is the question. And of course, Faded mentioned in the interview that we just had here that last time we saw a Game 5 OT with Siena Heights versus Northwood, and they're saying in the chat here, apparently they've been playing against each other quite frequently. I saw, like, 11's was saying, like, I can't think of a single tourney where we haven't played you. So apparently Siena Heights does have a lot of experience playing Northwood, which I guess I feel bad about that. Yeah, I feel bad for Siena Heights if that's the case. But still, you know, it gives them ample opportunity to analyze and evaluate their opponent's game plan. And the players are already here in the lobby here, Taco. So I think the only thing that we really have to do is let them play.
I gotta say, some of my favorite banter I've seen all season long was Faded in the chat, hitting up a Buddy and saying, hey, so you guys know the script, right? And Buddy goes, 4-1?
Absolutely.
So I'm liking that one, but he's not anticipating dropping these types of games. I mean, obviously, if you're going to lose to a team, if you lose to Stockton, that's not even a shock. That Stockton's so disgustingly good at this game. So granted, it's hard to see them lose any games, but this is going to be a tough one for Siena Heights. As much as we say they're certainly a team that is capable of it, it is a huge step up to go from UNT to Northwood. And now we're going to have to see, with Lion Blaze on the field, with Pirates returning to the pitch, really what this makeup is going to be. They got taken to Game 7 in the upper finals. Let's see how the lower fares.
Well, it's going to be an uphill battle. It was always going to be an uphill battle, no matter who made it here and now. We'll find out if David has the accuracy with that stone to take down Goliath in this best of 7 here. We'll see, actually. Oh, this is looking a bit dicey already. Lion Blaze with an own goal to start. What? I can scarcely believe it. What?
Squid, I think that's the first time that sentence has ever been uttered. I don't think anyone has ever been able to say, to open up the game, it's Lion Blaze own goaling it. My goodness, that is a rough one. But at the end of the day, I think in the words of Sun Tzu, Squid, the ancient Chinese tactician, we take those.
I don't exactly remember that one, but 11 for number 2. Oh boy. Sorry, hang on. I gotta. Wait, do we have the wrong? We have the wrong game, I think. Clearly, this can't. This isn't right. Something's going wrong here, surely.
So in boxing, typically you want to come out and you play cage, you read your opponent, or you could sprint right across the ring and throw a haymaker as your first hit. What is happening? No respect from the side of Siena Heights, and they're just coming on in and just going to throw the pressure. My goodness, here comes it yet again, as we do see. I mean, granted, I will say Northwood did start very slowly in a couple different series. They got 4-0'd in the first match of the upper bracket against the Columbia side in the grand finals, the spring championships for Collegiate Rocket League, and then they had to go to Game 7 OT to end up winning that whole championship. And in the upper finals, they did drop 3-0 before almost engineering a reverse sweep. So this is not necessarily out of character for Northwood. They tend to, I would say, gain momentum slowly, but once they're really on a roll, it's tough to stop. That could have been a way to regalvanize themselves. However, Pirates not able to make that contact. But however faded is that number 3? No, Pirates able to make up for it. A brilliant save on the goal line.
Well, you talked about how Northwood seems to have a bad habit of playing a little bit slow out of the gate. I don't necessarily think that's untrue here, although I think they might have gotten a little bit of a gift on that one. 11's kind of let this one roll out here, and of course, maybe not expecting that touch exactly. They didn't make the contact they wanted. Either way, though, it certainly is not an uncommon sight to see Northwood play a little bit lackadaisical in Game 1, or even the first couple of games in this series. Although, if they do take Game 1 here, that's going to be bad news for Siena Heights.
Lion Blaze is certainly no stranger to winning these games, as I mentioned with that statistic in the pregame, but also really going in between 2 different competitions. Lion Blaze actually played a Hoops 1v1 tournament sponsored by Space Station, and they won that last night, beating pretty much everyone. They look like in top form, and as naturally they're going to be dominant in the air and on the ground here, nearly getting another goal here. And I mean, we talk about them, but as if they're really carrying this team, but that's not the case. It's just that they are just one of so many different weapons Northwood can throw at you, and their bread and butter is just this relentless pressure. Pirates able to break through, and now that 2-goal lead that Siena Heights had, they coveted, it has been completely exterminated.
And faded, oh boy, off the back wall there. That one hurts just a little bit to watch. We know that faded can have some inconsistency about their play. Hopefully it's not some nerves coming in here, but it's not impossible. Again, as we talked about, this is the lower final for the entire league right now. They're facing this prospect of moving on to a guaranteed second place finish or losing out here and placing that top 3 again. They're pretty well in the money at this point, but still, hopefully they can bring out their best effort. They find themselves on the attack right here. A nice little delivery from faded over to 11. It's not really going to generate too much, at least initially. Looking back towards the middle, this one way up high. Fade is going to be first to it. Buddy beaten out. Still not really playable, although Decay almost with the waterfall double tap, but it wasn't meant to be. Will turn away past the halfway mark.
That's a brilliant 50. Buddy going to have to struggle to get this. Pirates will not extend. 11's with a boost steal. and they're just going to get us that right to the graveyard for that. That's a tough one. I really like that 50 setup, so very well done by Pirates, not only to get that demo on retreating back to defense, but also freeing up the defender behind them to be able to get a much cleaner clear. And plays like that from Northwood, that cohesion, I think that really speaks volumes. Of course, all individually, they are spectacular top-tier players, but the way that they really facilitate play together is, I think, what takes this team really to that next level.
Well and truly. I think fortunately for Sienna Heights, we haven't seen too much of that so far, but I don't think it's going to stay that way. Decay, a nice play to the backboard. 11 is there, and the changeup isn't good enough. Ryan Blaze stops it on the goal line, and Fade fakes it away. Ryan Blaze was completely unfazed by that layoff. On Faded's part, they're going to have to reapproach, and they're trying again here, but Faded bumped away from that potential passing play down for 11s. And will re-neutralize here. Northwood, I don't understand how Lion Blaze is able to make such an accurate read on that play. Well, they made the save, and then they read the fake. They just completely read that as well. Not like a, oh, I just happened to have some decent coverage. They knew exactly what was happening.
Sometimes it does feel like they really just have that fortune-telling ability, able to exactly see what's about to transpire, and it's that field vision and game awareness that we all covet, as we're seeing Northwood continue to be pressed, but it seem to be that they're stressed. In fact, might even thrive from this. Buddy in the corner with a boost steal, and even a demo to lead the way, though Faded slowing the play down just at the right time, and looks like everything is just fine on the side of Sienna Heights. However, with 30 seconds remaining, next goal very well could put it out of reach if it does go the way of Northwood.
It's difficult to recall for me personally without looking at the scoreboard, of course. We're in a tie game. I mean, Northwood, so very rarely do they trail or have this kind of a situation. We're here now. Final couple of seconds of the game. We'll find some ground being gained on this side. Pirates a huge 50-50 on that one. Faded lays off for Decay. Forward over to 11s, but they've got a difficult task ahead of them. Of course, it's going to be far more difficult if they're not actually on the field. Although a bit of a takeaway here from Decay. Faded was in the mid, but they did not have the touch. They were just a little bit too far forward and overtime for game one.
My goodness, my heart almost dropped when I saw 11s cut in on that. I was like thinking to myself, that's such a risky play to cut it middle, but it almost paid off. So certainly 11s just reminding them that they have certainly a lot of mechanical skill on display. You don't want to have them isolated. Okay. Sealing, Pirates. Tap down to Buddy. Kind of a slower play into the corner. Certainly not going to phase Faded. It's going to be another long clear, and it's like we're not going to get a too early of an end to this overtime.
Doesn't seem that way, although bit of a giveaway here. Buddy down to Pirates. A good idea on the connection, but certainly not as creative as we've seen Northwood get in the past. Lion Blitz have a little bit of control here with the option in the mid, but nothing really doing on that one. Didn't even have to throw it out there. They knew that by giving it away is a bad idea. They almost find the connection here with Pirates. They're still looking for more. It's okay with no contact on that one. Pirates almost with a dunk there along with the demo. That certainly would have been the game ender. But Faded still finds so much space downfield here. We'll be able to force Buddy into the corner. The 50-50 is made, and Pirates immediately available for the backup. Still dunked out by Decay. It's looking dangerous, and 11 will finish game one in style off the back wall.
11s has been lurking all day long on top of these plays, and no better time than in game one against Northwood. Look at that half rotation, no hesitation, in fact, just being able to go right up for it and beat out Buddy. Barely even saw what hit him, and what's hitting Northwood was a train of pressure from Sienna Heights. It's staggered down the middle, but ultimately they finished strong.
Perhaps they have figured out the key here to beating Northwood, although it was a bit of a sketchy situation, of course, with Lion Blaze accidentally picking up that own goal for number one. I think there may have been a little bit left to be desired here on the Northwood side, and like we said, it's not uncommon for us to see Northwood take things a little bit easy in the first game or two of a series. So perhaps there's yet to be a resurgence there. I certainly think that there's going to be an adaptation, and of course, the creative play on the attacking half would most likely rear its head yet for Northwood. I feel like that's going to be one of the big things to watch out for, and I feel like for Sienna Heights, if you're trying to counterplay that, that is the number one cautionary tale I have for you. That and the demolitions.
And making sure you be aware of that boost. There's been times where I've seen Northwood keep a team in the half for nearly a full minute of pressure, simply just because they are so good at stealing your boost. And the moment that you think you have enough saved up in the account, then suddenly it just strikes off back. Other times, it just right off of the kickoff. It's Lion Blaze getting on a loose ball and pounding into the back post. 11's not necessarily a terrible challenge on that one. It fell into what looked like a relatively controlled space, but immediately Lion Blaze is there and crosses up Faded there in the net. Makes it 1-0. Not necessarily a surprising play when you look back on it, but it almost feels too textbook
to be an appropriate goal for this kind of situation.
We'll see. Ooh, that's a close one. That was right on the goal line. And that's what Seattle really needs to be aware of. We saw Lion Blaze get a goal line save, but certainly there's going to be a lot of close calls when you are facing down at the Wolf Pack. Okay. Temporary touch, but you have to slow it down again. Now 11s, they do not have the boost. Pirates does. They're going for a double. Faded. I think recognizing the danger early, quickly going to that backboard.
Seattle just going to have to formulate a response fairly quickly here, I suspect. It's a nice little 1-2. Hand off right to Pirates, not quite on target, but there was plenty of defense to go around. Buddy now beaten here by 11s. It's a completely open net back the other way, and I said they need a response. I didn't expect it to come this way.
We'll see 11's nice little flick. And what I like about that one is that it's just pure efficiency. It's not trying to go over the ball. It's not going to be the cleanest flick, but it does its job. It beats that one defender. And even Northwood, I would say, is susceptible to those quick little counterattacks where you might bite off more than you can chew. Third man thinks it's a safe challenge, and suddenly look behind and see that it's just nothing but open range for their opponents to run into.
Huge 50. Oh my goodness, 11s. That one almost immediately on target. After a rather big 50-50 out on the sideline, plays with a massive beat though, and well, you said that Northwood might be susceptible. It appears that Siena Heights is not vulnerable to this either.
Yeah, Lion Blaze able to get up to that just enough, and even worse for 11s is that they're rotating back from the wide position, I think potentially trying to grab that back corner, and then Lion Blaze puts it in the one place that they cannot touch that. They had most of the goal covered, but of course that near post shot, it's not going to be accessible. Faded, actually maybe butchering that attempt, not going to be able to hop on that loose ball, but put right back, gives him a chance for redemption, dunk through, and a boost steal. No follow through, right back to midfield we go, and Northwood lead has been restored. It seems like we're settling into that midfield play that we kind of always await in a series like this, where both teams exchanging these quick volleys, but maybe this is going to be the moment where both teams really have to go back to their sides and really figure out how to progress from here.
And Lion Blaze knows exactly how to progress. Take it solo whenever possible, of course. They do get shut down early. That's always going to be the game plan for anybody playing against this team. Buddy with a nice little cut here, trying to get it back inside, but Takei has the coverage there. Well, guided away from the back post, at least temporarily. You can see Faded now under some control. This one goes over to 11s, and again, you gotta ask the question, where is the rotation here for Northwood? It feels like they're just giving up these goals for seemingly no reason.
Like Buddy was getting bumped in the backfield, and so I understand, or in the backfield of Siena Heights, they're trying to get some boost, and then as Lion Blaze is getting back, they realize they really can't even get close to it. So a very strange counterattack, but ultimately one that is going to count all the same, and Siena Heights will certainly take those, getting that goal right back in it, and now it's up to Lion Blaze and company to answer right on back. How about Buddy with a bump yet again? They were lurking in the backfield, not going to get that pay dirt.
Oh, they might find something yet. Pirates here. Decent look towards the net. Lion Blaze is there for the dunk on Faded, but follow-up needs to be there, and they do not have it. Decay will send that one out to the sidewall, and a rare misplay there from Lion Blaze. Although it was off the dunk from Faded, so I'll cut him a little bit of slack on that one. Either way, Northwood denied on the goal line. It's not a very common saying here in the booth, but we'll continue to play one way or the other. 11's no contact against this. Pirates with a flip way up high. Buddy is there for the follow-up. It's looking good with the flip reset off the back wall. Lion Blaze again just off the crossbar trying to trick Faded, and does just a little bit too much to put that one out to the side.
Everyone's susceptible for shooting too high. You want to put it in the top shelf away from the goalies, but sometimes you can put it a bit too high, and met by with the fourth defender. Faded trying to be that first defender in that challenge, chasing it across. Decay, nice pinch down the line. Can they get the boost? Boost spawns actually in the midfield, the perfect time for them to get that dunk. Faded, chase it down. Siena Heights wants to keep that pressure, though certainly they have to keep in the back of their mind that Northwood counterattack. Here it might be coming. Lion Blaze starts up an air dribble, will be deflected away, and now we're right back into the Northwood side with Faded trying to win into the corner.
Oh, Lion Blaze, a touch as well. It looked like it could have been susceptible to a counterattack there from 11s, but they stayed on the ground, most likely a little bit low on boost. Speaking of, Lion Blaze here, trying to look for a pass out there to Pirates, potentially, but instantly thrown downfield there by Faded. And something I feel that is a little bit strange about this game, Taco, Siena Heights, they really don't have a lot of offense in any way. They are just holding on the back end, which is something that's almost unheard of when you're playing against Northwood. We've talked about so many times before. The boost starve has been phenomenal for this team in just about every aspect. If you stay on the back foot for an extended period of time against Northwood, you are almost guaranteed to be scored on. I don't care which team you are. And yet, here Siena Heights is standing tall for the most part. in even the most difficult of situations. Pirates a nice dunk here against Faded. They're gonna need more than that. Buddy to the mid. Line Blaze is there, but faked out by 11's. Trying for the dunk on that one. Pirates keeps this playable, and Faded is so quick out to the ball. 11's with the immediate follow-up. The communication is on point here for Siena Heights, and they'll continue to stamp their foot in defiance.
And now we're starting to look back at those misses from Northwood off that crossbar. That is going to be the difference maker if this remains tied, or even worse, makes them lose in the end. That's a miss from Lion. 11's nice cut in middle. Not going to be followed through. Pirates, the backflip clear. Faded, trying to work the solo play. Going to be met by Lion, now into 11's. Getting Buddy to bite, and even further, getting another 50 through. Lost through from Pirates, though, so that might do it for the Siena Heights attack. How about Northwoods? It's Buddy. One more attempt chucking through. A 50 straight to the sky, but it looks like Faded has that covered, and certainly I'd have to think that that one is going to result in an OT here. Game number 2. It will hit the turf, and let's see, can Siena Heights add one more to the series tally?
And this reset is certainly going to help them. Bit of a loss in the face-off here, of course. I went on paper, but if it goes to Lion Blaze, you can almost guarantee it's going to be a loss. Pass right out to Pirates. Faded is there to meet it. Although it was a slight double coming on the back end, and you know that Northwood is going to try to punish that every day of the week. And here they come, yet again, Lion Blaze. Under control, off the ceiling, has Buddy to work with in the wing. A nice shot on target, but nowhere near nice enough to fool the defense. 11's just had to sit on the goal line, let it come to them. We continue to play here, seemingly not missing a beat on this game.
Great carry through from Faded. I like how not only are the clears getting touched, but they're getting all the way through. Unfortunately, you don't account for Pirates making a cut like that. Look at this play through from Buddy, and then the perfect read from Pirates, tapping it just agonizingly so close to Decay, off the post and in. It's Northwood tying up the series, and oh my goodness, they are living by really the skin of their teeth sometimes on this game, but I guess at the end of the day, that pressure does pay off.
Does feel like it, and of course on that last play you can see Decay. This is what I was talking about with the creative passing plays, is Decay is looking for that double tap from Buddy, because you know you have to respect Buddy. Buddy is an insane mechanical player, and then suddenly there's no contact, and Pirates is immediately there with a mix-up angle, and suddenly you've already committed to that double tap, and it just ruins your entire game plan for the defense. And that's where Northwood shines, is trying to make you think that you have a read on a play before completely breaking your axles and just throwing it in a completely different direction than you were expecting. But, I mean, as far as the series goes here, for Siena Heights, it's not exactly the greatest look. For Northwood to even get a foothold in a series, it's like an arm wrestling match, where as soon as they start getting back into it, you know you have a very easy avenue to utter defeat.
So certainly that is going to be the main thing for Siena Heights, is making sure that defense holds up and making sure you can maybe pray to the gods above that Lion Blaze does not start to find their shooting form. And actually been somewhat underwhelmed by Lion Blaze so far. A lot of these shots have turned distributor, rather, since they've been hitting the crossbar. They've been hitting it somewhat lackluster into the goalie. So I think that's the main thing that I'm waiting for, is to see if Lion Blaze does return to that form, whether or not these scorelines are going to be remaining as close as they are. Certainly it helps that Siena Heights is playing offense like that. That is a calamity in front of the net, and 11's will gladly scoop it up.
I don't think there's many words that could describe the defense as accurately as calamity. But, I mean, with the breach up there, yeah, it feels like they're trying to play so much option coverage, and Siena Heights just looks at it and they say, oh, well, if you're going to pre-jump that so heavily, we're just going to wait for you to basically have 0 options left, and then finally make our attack. Well played there by 11's. Good patience on the Siena Heights side. They are still going to need to hold on. Again, the defense was commendable, to say the very least, in game, well, really in games 1 and game 2. We'll have to see if they can hold on to it even further. A minute gone in this one, and of course, this is a complete marathon, never a sprint. They have been doing good to keep up with Northwood so far.
Lion Blaze, a brief giveaway, and Decay is going to call their own number. It looked like that was fully in control, but credit to Decay. No fear whatsoever, just goes straight for it and is able to beat out the Ghost starter.
I gotta say, I'm just not certain about that play call. But of course, if you're Lion Blaze in that spot, you probably think there's no way that Decay moves up on this ball. They respect my touch. But this is something that I actually noted, and of course, I am going to continue making parallels to this as many times as I see it, as Pirates almost makes an amazing play underneath of 11's there. But it was Vatira on Team Queso who seemingly disrespected people in the neutral like that. Players who thought they had safe plays on the ball would find themselves being punished seemingly out of nowhere because Vitsira just decided they saw a gap and they would go for it. It's the same kind of thing that the K pull off on that last play there against Lion Blaze.
So with that stated, of course, Northwood demands a lot of respect on the general ecosystem, but not necessarily on the field, especially when they're playing like that. Look at that setup and the finish. 11s for number 3 here for Sienna Heights. Nearly shocking me. It just feels like I'm watching this game goal to goal, but I keep forgetting that this game, it's 4 shots for Sienna Heights. They're shooting 75.
This was never really expected, I think, for anybody. Looking at the result of Game 2 there, Taco, to expect that Sienna Heights would come out and be the leading offense in Game 3, this is quite the story. But they do have to keep it up yet again. I mean, even a 3-goal lead is not safe against Northwood until you get down to the absolute dying moments of the game. But the K off the seal with a double tap here. Buddy will be able to read that one just about every day of the week. It's a little bit too telegraphed for these top-level players again. And 11's not able to fool Pirates here.
Pirates doing a great job to dance through the defense. Problem is, once you slow down, they really start to lose that trickery. Lion Blaze, half rotation, slapping it across, faded, a brilliant cut through. Now it's going to be up to Buddy and Pirates to hold down the back end. Decay, no boost steal, close angle, and they're just going to roll right into Lion Blaze. 11's immediate challenge, and it's stuff like that that is really, I think, making a difference for Sienna Heights. The moment Lion or Buddy or Pirates takes to the air, you have a Sienna Heights player screaming right at the ball in a straight line.
It's valuable game plan as well to have. Of course, taking away that possession early on not only disables that one player from being able to continue to make plays on it, but oh my goodness, the cut rotation here from Pirates receiving from Lion Blaze. This looked like a relatively safe giveaway here from Sienna Heights, from 11's off on the sidewall, because you have faded down there, but Pirates is so confident staying in front of the net and being able to make that play.
And I always love moves like that. Of course, it can be a little risky. It feels like you're wasting your movement if the clear goes through. But if you do even get a 50, it's still a precarious position. And it's not really risking anything. So it's always a nice play call to see a player stay relevant in the play, get in the face of the defender. And I guess that time completely beat them. It was 100-0, no 50-50 required. So Sienna Heights maybe seeing some precariousness, some shake in the tower they've assembled from that foundation of defense into offense. And now to save 90 seconds is enough to be able to hold on to this lead. Lion Blaze trying to test it with another air dribble, though. Will be rejected for now.
This will play there at the double tap chance for Pirates, transforming that one to a 50-50 as well. Some great dual purpose play there on that solo effort from Pirates, but they need more. Northwood can't afford to keep engaging in these neutrals and losing against Sienna Heights. Speaking of, the demo here almost opens up a gap. Pirates will be able to make it back in time. Buddy was also there, but a huge giveaway now. Lion Blaze just tossing the one down into the end, hoping that Buddy is able to make a play on this one, and they will, but only barely. Not exactly a possession here for Northwood. Sienna Heights right now, of course, we talked about how solid their defense has been. Of course, challenging everybody basically as soon as possible. Not only stopping players from being able to make individual plays, but stopping them from being able to make effective passes as well. They can't get that set that they're looking for every single time. And faded now in the 1v1 against Lion Blaze. I love it. Tries to service 11s, but it was not meant to be. Either way, loads of time being wasted off the clock as we tick towards another SHU victory.
And this is what I was talking about when they do have 90 seconds to keep the defense at bay. This is, I think, the definition of sometimes the best defense is just a good offense. They're not even shooting the ball, but look at the possession. They're stealing boosts. They're getting in the face. They're just being annoying. And it's so difficult for Northwood to get anything started because right now, they can't even get it out of their half. They finally do here with the Northwood clear from Lion Blaze, but even then, it's going to be met on the back end by 11s. One more throw forward, no goal, and even if they score with any time remaining, probably going to be too little too late, and indeed it is. It is SHU taking game 3, and they have their series lead right back.
I gotta say, again, we talked about the story here. The story of the new kids on the block playing off against the big baddens of the CRL space. And they are putting up a wonderful fight. I mean, the biggest point about this, though, Taco, is not necessarily the fact that they're winning against Northwood, it's the fact that they're out-shooting Northwood. We've seen teams beat Northwood, but not necessarily hold the control when it comes to overall possession. I think actually saying that, you know, from a completely objective standpoint, I think that Northwood had more overall possession. But to out-shoot Northwood, is another thing entirely. And I remember at least a couple of shots on the Northwood side that registered but weren't really even shots on target, or at least they weren't purposed to be shots on target. So for Siena Heights, that was a phenomenal game 3. I mean, especially after having to stay on the back foot for basically the entirety of the second match and still almost winning that one, of course, pushing into OT. That was a huge change for them. Hopefully for their sake, they can keep it up.
I think the main thing that I'm looking at from SHU is, can you keep the confidence going? And I don't mean that just for shots, but just for challenging on defense at 11s. Certainly not short of that ability. They are certainly continuing to be a striker on the forefront, but I think the main thing that always speaks to me when Northwood faces a pressure, it's because the other team is getting right in their face. They're challenging them immediately. They're not giving them respect. They're stealing boost instead of rotating back. I think there's a lot of players that understand how deadly Northwood is, and they tend to play passive. Let's turtle up. Let's try to absorb pressure. And inevitably, that fails because Northwood has the skill and has the boost control and has the cohesion to break you down. But if you're right in their face, forcing them to adjust, if they don't, then you really do have a kind of a grab, a claim to be able to take these games. I think that's what Siena Heights is doing incredibly well, and that's why they're, I think, right now in driver's seat of the series.
Well, I mean, it's very easy for a team also. I mean, even if you don't, even if you do get the upper hand immediately, Northwood has so many tricks up their sleeve and so much experience between the three of their players, no matter which three they're fielding, that you can never really safely be in a lead against Northwood, no matter what it is. Of course, we saw that with Stockton in the upper final. So I feel that for Siena Heights right now, there's still a long way to go with this series, but a lot of confidence has to be exuded from them right about now. The shot count remains even here past the first 90 seconds of gameplay. Okay, a little bit of a nice 50 here. Pirates already taking another rotation on the back end. This will force Buddy into service, and actually, apparently not. Buddy, with a rare misplay, will allow goal number 1 to trickle on through.
And that is why you steal boost, and that is why you make sure everyone has enough. Buddy is just trying to reach that. It looks like they have it covered, but even just 10 boost would have made a huge difference there.
Absolutely. I didn't realize. I thought that Buddy had at least a little bit. But there you go. That's just a lesson to you, kids. Always go for boost pathing. Nice little save away here. Pirates almost for the backup. Siena Heights will defend that 1-goal lead immediately on the faceoff.
Looks like Faded. It's getting a lot of fake challenges, and that actually is throwing Northwood off at times. I'm noticing a couple times, really, from 11s and Faded particularly, they will go full bore onto an attack from Northwood and then just immediately turn around. And Northwood, almost uncharacteristically, just throw it downfield because they're expecting the immediate challenge. But these fake challenges being thrown in, kind of sprinkled onto the attacking strategy from Siena Heights, I think is just kind of a wrench thrown in the plans, the well-laid plans, I would say, of Northwood, especially with clears like that. Lion Blaze certainly tested, not going to be beaten on this one, and as you mentioned, very low shooting gameplay we're witnessing right now, but it's strategically done. Siena Heights still protecting that lead as we cross halftime.
Talking about Lion Blaze being tested there on the backboard, it almost feels like testing a calc student on college algebra. But it is a test nonetheless, and of course, people do eventually make mistakes. We saw that earlier, Buddy on the backboard. Buddy not going to make a mistake on this one. However, a flip reset may have serviced them a little bit better. They just did not have the opportunity on that air dribble. They did have an easy clear on that. Siena Heights perfectly happy to play with this 1-goal lead, but certainly some insurance would be merited at this point. Faded to guide this one downfield. It's on target. Pirates is there. Wants 2 telegraphed on that one. No surprises. Northwood are able to defend this one, but we're quickly looking at the last 100 seconds of gameplay here. They are still looking for goal number 1. They haven't had too many significant shots on target. This might be the first. Buddy, though, instantly challenged by Faded. We talk about how much value that gives them off the backboard. Your Pirates with an angle, and will find it just through the defense. That close to closing the gap, but not quite.
Gonna have a bad time to give anyone an open shot. Pirates actually has been quite the striker for Northwood throughout this series. They've always really been where they need to be, and this is a great example of why you need to be able to lock all these plays down. Know what up for it. You have 3 players crowding the net, and they still find a way to put that top shelf.
Well, like I was saying, you know, the 2 defenders were right there. They were almost available for it, but almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So we will continue playing now. Tie game. Northwood are right back in it. We need a response from Siena Heights if they want to continue with their winning ways in this series. Buddy will toss that one towards the net. Oh my goodness, Buddy! That one almost sneaking inside of the upper right-hand corner, but 11s. Thankfully, he's not going to have to go home. Had some nightmares about that one. will continue. Still though, Northwood on the attack, a little bit of a bump here as well. Pirates with no contact in the corner. Line Blaze only narrowly denied. Pirates almost had a chance to cut back in on that one, but with zero boost, they were forced to take this one back to the midfield line. And a nice little reset here for Siena Heights, but they need more.
Let's see 11's turn in place, but they don't have the boost. I wouldn't necessarily say a fake challenge, but it acts all the same. But he gave it away. And now they're lurking on the back post. 11's needed a challenge. Pirates, we've seen this story before. It's the same ending. He's gonna be able to put it through again. An unconventional shot, but it counts all the same.
Janitorial duty has never looked so attractive, but Decay, oh, that hurts to watch. I don't know if they had the time or the angle to make it back to that ball, but either way, Northwood have got the lead now, and all that Siena Heights can do is look back on that previous play. And hopefully they have got a fairly bad short-term memory. Oh, what a banger here from Faded! But Line Blaze there for the save. Decay with no follow-up contact to try to keep that one in the zone. Fade's gonna try and do their best, but it's a lackluster effort at that. They were completely blocked out by Pirates, and Line Blaze, of course, taking it solo over the top for goal number 3. This looks like it might be done and dusted.
And that is what I'm talking about with these combination plays. Pirates gets a 50, and without any hesitation, Line Blaze is already on the wall anticipating that exact outcome. And that is the type of stuff that is making your job so incredibly hard if you are Siena Heights. I think they're really getting punished now. I think in the previous wins, not all of them, but at times, it looked like Northwood could have been able to play that game a bit closer, but missed out on opportunities. Now, this is Northwood really taking everything that lays ahead of them. And now with that on the table, we're going to go back to 2-2, an even side of series, and see what is going to befall us in the remainder of this one, because as you mentioned, you can maybe keep Northwood down, but it's very hard to actually pin them there.
Well and truly. I think for Siena Heights right now, we talked about their game plan was to get up in the face of Northwood. Unfortunately, Taco, the same thing we saw from Stockton on the upper final. And Northwood was prepared with a response for that. And I think it's a valuable playstyle. I think they should definitely stick with it. It's paying more dividends this time, I would argue, than it did for Stockton, which is strange to say, obviously, because Stockton took 3 games in a row at the beginning of the series. But, you know, I think, again, you know, man for man, Stockton most likely has a bit of a hand up on Siena Heights. I think it's incredibly valuable for them to maintain the threat of each and every one of their players in the midfield and deny Northwood the opportunity to keep a solo possession or go for those easy passing plays. It's absolutely critical that they keep playing aggressive in the mid, but they cannot just do it without any sort of discretion. Of course, if you just keep throwing yourself at the ball over and over, you will get punished eventually. Northwood will read that. They'll play slow, they'll bait you in, and then make a play, you know, post haste, and you will get punished. Like, almost every single time. If you are in an odd man situation against Northwood, something bad is going to happen. It might just be a prolonged defense, but still, like we said before, that's the last place you want to be.
I think particularly getting those defensive touches and then extending it out with either a 50 or an immediate follow through. And I think at times Siena Heights was doing really well earlier in this series of getting a ball, not just tapped to the side, but cleared to the side, getting a 50, being able to slow it down, allow time for their teammates to get boost. But other times, in that last game, for instance, we saw Siena Heights on defense, but they could only just temporarily tap a player away, and Northwood was able to circle right back in, get a repeated shot. And it's really what opened the door for Pirates to be so opportunistic. Siena Heights needs to be careful. It's one thing to get on top of these shots, but it's not necessarily the immediate shot that's the danger. It's the continual re-entry into the attacking rotation that makes Northwood so deadly.
We've seen that time and time again, as you mentioned, from Pirates. It just seems like par for the course for Northwood at this point. However, this has been anything but a normal series so far. Despite their victories looking relatively comfortable for them, they have sustained a couple of losses here, and Siena Heights are certainly not going down without a fight. It's a good midfield battle off the bat here in Game 5 as well. To see who's going to be taking this one home. Like I said before, you win here, second place guarantee and the chance to play off against Stockton for that #1 spot in the NACE Starleague. Or if you lose, at least you get down in the podium position. We'll see if Siena Heights can put the #1 here. It looked like a decent opportunity, but of course, just being close to the goal line doesn't make it all happen. The ceiling shot denied from 11's by Lion Blaze. Turned out into the corner here. Northwood again under so much control, even on the defensive side. It feels like nothing is ever truly testing them. This is a bit of an odd one. Siena Heights ready to play it.
Well, Pirates are not going to get that one. Lion Chasing it down, gonna get 50. That's brilliant right after the K, the low 90, and Buddy's still able to pre-jump that one. Well done by Sienna. It's that infield passing continuing to be a threat, and it looks like Lion Blaze learned the lesson on that one. They were almost man-marking Faded.
Well, truly. Still though, oh my goodness! We have it on the other side on 11s. This time is gonna be the one making the save. So much respect for these infield passing plays you were talking about, Taco. We will see our game continue completely scoreless. So that's a miscommunication there. Faded and Decay running into each other allows some time and space now for Northwood, although this clearance will definitely be valuable. You can see that Sienna Heights, they got a couple of freebies earlier on in this series due to long clears and a lackluster Northwood rotation. That has not reared its ugly head in quite some time. And again, you know, we saw Sienna Heights a bit of a run-in with each other on that last retreat.
Hopefully being able to ensure those miscommunications don't really happen, and that's honestly the most impressive part about playing in a team. If you can make sure that you're playing this quick without any really crossed wires, then certainly you're going to be a quality team regardless. Faded, trying to show that you can also be a quality team through that individual play. Duke's past one, 50's past another. Pirates, temporary touch, and now a more permanent one. Cleared all the way out, and now in field. Gonna be past Buddy though, and Imprecision gonna call an end to that attack.
It's been a very back and forth game so far. We've only seen really one effective shot on either side. This is gonna be the second one, but Lion Blaze can't put away Pirates with no read this time. He's been doing an amazing job of finding those reads off the backboard so far this series, but that was not a similar situation. Finally, like I said, there was one really quality chance on either side with basically a mirror image of the infield passes, but Lion Blaze couldn't get it underneath the crossbar there. It seems like he's been plagued, actually, in that regard a couple of times. That pinch, an interesting one to say the least, Buddy. Almost some real estate on the backboard. Faded will cut it out. Sienna Heights needs to get this one away immediately. They will find some contact there from Decay. Just continue to stay in a relatively slow and low profile kind of play style here so far in this one. That's a bit of a misplay there by Decay, but was due respect on the Northwood side. No punish immediately there.
Lion Blaze, not what you want to see if you're as a Jew. Neither too is Buddy lurking there for the follow. Pirates able to tap it on the near post. Not going to be in. Nobody was home. And so Pirates just doesn't have the ice on that finish. That's really the best opportunity we've seen. And that just comes from an overextension.
Again, though, Sienna Heights, they had a little bit of a miscommunication moving downfield, though. Even if Northwood are making a couple of little mistakes, it feels like they might still have the upper hand. A nice save there by Lion Blaze. Levin's off the sidewall. Faded's going to be first to it towards the backboard, but Pirates loads of coverage down towards Buddy. Even with zero boost, still a threat on the field, taken out by Faded. Taking away the final seconds here. Northwood still looking for the advantage. Pirates double tap here, maybe even a triple, but it's not good enough to go on the target yet again. The accuracy has been plaguing them all game long. Lion Blaze cannot get that one past Faded. They're looking for something else on that one, but 11s is too quick out to it. Again, the speed of play has been so valuable for Sienna Heights. They need to stay strong here, though. The closing moments, Northwood are looking like they're becoming deadly on the offense. Certainly a shaky stance on the back end here. Buddy looking towards the mid. Lion Blaze is there, denied by 11s. Looking all the way downfield here now. They have one last shot to make something happen with this one. Low boost off the backboard. It's a good chance. Lion Blaze all the way downfield, and they'll surely, no, they won't let that one drop. They did. That's a little bit aggressive from I'd say. So I thought for sure they're going to play that one down to OT. We'll continue play.
Oh my goodness, they're going to keep it. It is going to roll in the middle. Pirates lobs it high, and it's Sienna Heights. And this is what I love to see. When teams are playing a team like Northwood, and it's a long clear down, and then you're thinking, well, surely they're going to play for OT. Why would you take the risk? Well, it's because you're full of confidence, and you think you can take it in before going to extra innings. Not going to be the case, but that is something I'd like to see. The pass back, it's off the bar and in. What a play from Sienna Heights, the epitome of random bounce.
Talk about improvisation. 11s getting right back to it. There's only one way you can truly fool Northwood, a team who is so good at reading a play 2 steps ahead, and that is really to not know what you're doing either. I mean, that one just pretty much blind luck. I mean, Decay rotating out of the net, it just so happened to bounce off the Northwood player, and Decay realized like, oh hey, I can touch this back towards 11s, and 11s is prepared for it as well. Both of them keeping their eye on the ball in just about every way, and now they're one game away from advancing into the grand finals here, Taco.
And that shows that sometimes on attack, it's, yes, you want to have a perfect shot. You want to be able to put that right in the top shelf. You want to be able to bang it past. But sometimes if you don't have that or you're not 100% sure, just throwing it somewhere weird, right across the face of goal, right at the goalies that are creeping out. And then they have to kind of panic. You get a deflection, and who knows what happens from there. To be honest, not expecting that Decay touch to amount to anything. It looked like the player in the back post would be able to swoop on through. But hey, what do you know? It's going to be a follow through right by 11s. That is a player that has had quite the day striking. Kind of calling out Pirates. I feel like the adjacent player, or rather the analogous player there for this side of Siena Heights has been 11s, but they're going to need everyone to step up here, especially in the next 5 minutes. Siena Heights is 1 game away from knocking out Northwood, but of course, that is quite the task. Lion Blaze, their opener.
And this is just beautiful to see, of course. Northwood, this is what I was talking about, right? The slow play is going to be their counter. If they notice that Siena Heights is getting a little bit too aggressive for their taste, they're just going to drive that ball, and they're just going to keep their options available to them until they get to that critical mass point where they're forcing Siena Heights to either do something or they have their own play available to them. This is perfectly played there by Buddy, and I think that turned out quite well for Northwood in that instance. I don't necessarily feel like that's always going to be the situation, but it worked perfectly from them there. Oh my goodness, Decay! That cannot have been calculated off the crossbar, and they immediately make contact. Buddy's still looking for a redirect here, but denied by 11s. Pirates for the mop-up, still closed out by 11s on the defensive side. They have been absolutely crazy so far in this series. And oh my goodness, we continue to play here. Only a 1-goal deficit for Siena Heights. They are filled with confidence.
But maybe not for long, especially if Buddy gets their way on this one. That's a heck of a read, and not going to be able to test their ability on that. Decay, half rotation through the midfield. No pop. Pirates just throwing it deep, and 11s should be able to scoop this one to the corner. Quickly dispossessed, and now Northwood really starting to ramp up the speed, but intermixing with some clever interplay. I like that from Buddy, but not going to find any pay dirt.
And again, like I was saying, Northwood is trying to bait in the defense. When they expect them to play fast, they play slow, and suddenly things change. They will be able to hold on to the possession at the very least. The 11th actually being bullied out here on the backside. Not able to make that backboard read, but of course it's entirely unnecessary as there's no immediate punish coming in outside of Pirates. A little bit of space and time being bought here for Siena Heights. It doesn't really look like an offensive has much of a chance of being born out of this. Lion Blaze will possess this one way up the side while they lost a player now in the mid. Looks like they're wingmen being slowly isolated down until there's no options left, and they will be sent back to the midfield line. But again, Siena Heights, they need more. They need to block this pass. Pirates with a slow shot behind Decay, and now Lion Blaze for the follow-up will also be turned out to the side. Inside of 3 minutes, Northwood still looking for insurance in this one. Siena Heights certainly not going down without a fight.
And they got to be careful. They are playing from behind. They always have to remember that. So certainly they're trying to make sure they can take care of defense. But with 2.5 minutes still remaining, this is the thing that I think Siena Heights needs to keep in the back of their mind. As long as you play solid defense, don't overextend yourself. Just take your chances as they emerge and make sure that everything is built in from a solid defensive foundation. And certainly Northwood is testing that, coming in with sledgehammers and banging on some walls. But at least for right now, it is still standing. 1-goal game as we're quickly approaching now 2 minutes. Oh boy.
Pirates no contact there initially. Buddy being forced to make a play here off the back wall. It's not the greatest possession. Lion Blaze actually getting a little bit in the mix too, although he's still moving towards the center, and oh no! Faded, accidentally tapping it in their own net. Buddy just decided to service it out to the opposing player, and it works out.
I think that's something Faded can't really predict, but at the end of the day, you're trying to go into the near post. I think just trying to maybe cut in. If Buddy takes extra time, that may be something you might be able to 50 on the near post, slow it down. You got the goalie come through and sweep it through, but regardless of really the thought or the plan, all we know is the end result. And that's going to be a brutal one to give up, especially now, because it's not just take your chances when they come. It's now you really have to play that gentle balance of how much do we force that aggression, play aggressive, throw everything forward, and how much do we try to make sure that we're not just giving up easy goals on the counterattack. Maybe this is number one. We didn't have Decay lurking, but no bump. They went for the fancy play, and they're not going to find it.
There's still an odd shot here for Siena Heights, but it almost, you know, Tucker, correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost feels like they've already lost this game by allowing Northwood to advance up to 2-0. It really almost feels like there's no shot for them, and obviously we know that Siena Heights can do some real damage here, but the fact that they only scored one in OT of the last match just doesn't fill me with confidence. And knowing Northwood, they don't tend to play stupid without being prompted. You know, I don't want to say it that way, but they just play smart game all the time. You can't get around that. With 65 seconds left to go here in Game 6, as Buddy services Pirates, still going to be turned out, actually. And it almost feels like even though Siena Heights are putting their best foot forward, there's very little real opportunity they have to make an impact on this game.
Yeah, they're going to need a goal right about now, even though there's about a minute. It's really just to show that it's going to be very rare they're going to score and then immediately get another one, specifically because Northwood has so many tactics up their sleeves, slow down the play, be able to deal with kickoffs. And so a goal right here would certainly do wonders. Problem is, not going to find one. Instead, they're going to have one inflicted upon them. Lion Blaze getting, I would say, the closest thing I've seen to a change-up on this shot, a bounce shot straight down, and certainly is going to seal things up. And what do you know, Northwood University, they might be tested, but they're going to go to a Game 7 nonetheless.
Oh boy. See, now, here's the kicker, of course. Northwood, they always do this. They always prove resilient, no matter how the series goes. Except for, I mean, the notable exception so far has been in this bracket against Stockton, where they lost to Game 7, being denied a reverse sweep. And here against Siena Heights, it feels like, again, these last two games have been just extraordinarily difficult for Siena Heights to find their own possession, their own style of play throughout all of this. They've been forced into the only play style that works against Northwood. They almost even get one back here for a little bit of morale. But like I was saying, they're being forced into this play style, and I advise that they stay on this path because it's the only tangible play that they can hold on to that they know works to a reasonable extent. But they have to be prepared for the counterplay. They have to be prepared for if they decide to disrespect Northwood and go basically after every single ball so as to deny an easy solo or passing play. They have to be prepared for the event that Northwood decides that they're just going to play it slow and try to bait them in instead. And I just don't feel like they are immediately ready for that. They're trying to take things one step at a time, and sometimes it works and sometimes it just doesn't. And you can see in the scoreboard here, I mean, 12 shots against 3 is not a good look here for Siena Heights.
Yeah, and at times, I remarked at that one statistic one game, they had 4 shots only, and yet they scored 3 of them. 75% shooting is incredible. It is not easy to replicate, specifically because Northwood's not always going to be giving you wide open shots that are going to be able to fly right in. They're not always going to give those deflections that go right across the goal and get you an overtime victory, but you take those specifically because they're earned. The thing is that how often you're able to get that against Northwood is going to vary from game to game, because we talk so much about what makes a great team, executing on open shots, making sure that your defensive rotations are clean. But for me, the thing that always stands out is that when Northwood looks like they got absolutely clattered, that is not going to be the case next game. They always find a way to get to that next level, to really go that Super Saiyan, that whatever next level thing that they need to do. And that's really the last challenge. You've gone so far, Siena Heights. However, this is an elimination match. Are you going to be able to make history? Knock Northwood out of this bracket and move on.
I think Northwood not placing in the top 2 would be quite the change of pace here for us, Taco. I feel like if there's one thing I want to see out of Siena Heights right now, one thing that could really change the pace of this game, break up the Northwood rotation, it would be Demolitions. They've got a free net here. No, Lion Blaze comes in out of nowhere, dropping from the heavens, and makes the save away. That certainly would have been a nice opener there for Siena Heights. They might even still have a chance, though. So it only goes as far as the sidewall. 11's off the ceiling towards the backboard. But nobody will be even close enough to reinforce that one against the clearance. And we will continue to play here. A good opener. That's exactly the way you want to see them come out in this match. It was, as you said at the beginning of this series, Taco, open with the haymaker. Nobody expects it.
Certainly, that's something that is a bit rough, because if you whiff on that, you can certainly be countered. Speaking of, that's a miss. Pirates is going to follow up with one of their own. How about Buddy? They're taking their chance. It's right at 11's. Talk about the agony of finishing right there. That could have been anywhere else, and I think it finds its way through.
It's already been a minute of this game, and I swear my blood pressure has gone up at least a couple of points. But, yeah, we got to wait this one out. 11's, I feel like that could have been some better contact if they'd been there just a moment earlier. Of course, I don't blame them for it. Nice little fake there by Buddy. Precisely what I wanted to see. Siena Heights playing a little bit closer on him. Faded was prepared for it. Pirates off the sidewall, only goes as far as 11's, trying to keep this one in the zone. Some great ideas here from Siena Heights, but with no contact and a bit of a missed boost grab there on the side. Slow things down relatively significantly here on this offense. Underneath the Pirates, around Buddy. Could still be playable, but again, the low boost situation Let's come back to bite them. Faded over towards 11. A good shot, and oh no! A misplay on the Northwood side! They had 2 players prepared for it, and Taco, a gift being given here.
Yeah, Squid, if I had to be asked what is the way that this goal is going to go through, it's not this. Buddy is just uncharacteristically gunning for that, and maybe Pirates thought that it was so straightforward they didn't need to comment or whatever, but at that point, we're just theory crafting. That is a rare mistake from Northwood, and at such an important time, they might be able to strike right back, but looks like Faded has other plans.
Sienna Heights, they have held on strong, notoriously so, against this Northwood offense. That leaves no quarter for anybody. Lion Blaze in the air. They need an immediate challenge on this, and they will find it. But 11s has to make a follow-up, and they will be there. Lion Blaze, no contact on that one. It might have been a bit desperate. And now all the way downfield. Faded snipes to the bottom right. Just over half the game to be played, and it's a 2-goal game.
My goodness, 20/20 vision indeed. Look at the field vision, just seeing that open net. I don't even know if that's on purpose. You cannot place it better than that. That is perfectly through the defenders, threading the eye of the needle, and a 2-goal lead to protect with half the game. And right now, Sienna Heights sitting pretty, but certainly not comfortably.
Alarms have to be going off in the Northwood facility right now. Almost a double tap here for Decay. 11s is immediately on it. You can see how much Sienna Heights wants this. They're keeping the pressure on at every available juncture. We pass halftime. 11s. A look at the net here against Lion Blaze, against Buddy. Force off the backboard. Still playable for Faded. Not much more than that initial touch. It'll be Pirates. Down towards Buddy again. The bait is there from Northwood. This is precisely what we were talking about. Off the backboard. It looks dangerous, but not enough. Faded with the pre-jump out in front. Will be able to deny that shot. Buddy still keeps it in play, though. Off the backboard, not quite there. Faded again with contact up to the side. Double commit from Northwood. It's the last place you want to see them in, but even Northwood can mentally break here now inside of 2 minutes.
Faded, what a challenge. They've been in the center of so many of these plays. Obviously, they have the goal, but they also have the assist on the first goal. So as we're looking through this one and we're continuing to see these challenges, I mean, Faded came in. They said in the interview prior to this series that they think they can do it. They think against anyone they can beat them. And sometimes that's tough talk. Other times it is really the truth right from the captain's mouth. They got to hold on, though, because Pirates has something to say about this series.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Lion Blaze missed that double tap angle, and it's rare that you see it, but still Pirates was there for the backup. They know where they have to be. Even the best of players can miss things like that, and that may have been communication either way. For Northwood, a well-rounded play, an important one at that. And less than 90 seconds to go, they cannot afford to be missing any more opportunities. This goes for both sides. Sienna Heights, again, the story for them has been insane. Pirates with contact here. Absolutely vital yet again. Feels like every second is an eternity. At this point, Lion Blaze to Buddy, just barely turned aside there by 11th. The follow-up here, Pirates baiting and Faded on the initial touch, off the post, and away yet again. Decay with an absolutely key clearance here. 1 minute remaining. Sienna Heights barely holding on.
Infield pass, it's Pirates, that's a quality shot, and it's equal to it is the save. Faded whip it away, and the deflection, that could roll all the way through, and it will! Faded with the save, with the counter, and maybe even delivering a win.
Rearing its ugly head again, Northwood had difficulties with making sure they had security in the early games of this series, and now it may well be the thing that puts them out of the bracket. 48 seconds to go, though, and we've never known them to back down from a challenge. Although 11s, it's a great face-off win. A demo of the net, looking for number 4. They cannot quite find off the post. Faded going to recur on this one, denied by Buddy. Decay just a little bit too high. And Northwood, again, they are still in this game. Lion Blaze, loads of control, going to let this one go. Pirates opting not to commit on that one. Maybe a miscommunication there between Pirates and Buddy. They are struggling to keep this one under control. You can see even panic on the experience side of Northwood. A pass over to Pirates, denied by 11s. Even more time ticking off the clock. Buddy looking for Pirates. A little bit of desperation here. Lion Blaze needs to put something away right now. They get denied yet again. A little touch here from Faded, and that's gonna put it. The cherry on top, the icing on the cake. Sienna Heights does the impossible, the unthinkable. Northwood is out of this bracket.
I have seen a lot, but as Decay has said, this is a little off the script, boys. Game 7, not even an OT. Sienna Heights knocking off Northwood, the kings of the scene, the dominant team, really the team that everyone assumed had ruined collegiate esports for many different esports because they're so dominant. They're not even making it to that grand final. They'll have to settle for third. Sienna Heights, I mean, it's very rare that we get into the interview and we talk to a player and say, hey, how do you feel about this next series? And they say, we think we can do it. And they genuinely do. They came in confident and they showed it from start to finish. That is an exclamation point I've ever seen one for Game 7.
And I'm just chatting up the players a little bit here, giving them congratulations in the chat. And 11 says first time, and I'm just over here like, yeah, same for us. You know, it's not often that we see this happen. Of course, Northwood has been defeated before, but this was the big test, right? With Lion Blaze being on the field, it is incredibly rare that Northwood sustains a loss, and yet they're gone. And again, they're on a podium spot. But for Northwood to be outside of the top 2 in any competition that we have witnessed is just mind-boggling. It seems like it's outside of the realm of possibility. And now, I mean, looking forward for Sienna Heights too, against Stockton in the upper bracket, it feels like they have basically just achieved the impossible at this point. Do they even feel phased at the prospect of taking on Stockton now?
I mean, that's really, I would say in a figurative sense, that is the question that you have to ask yourselves. I mean, we have the thoughts of, well, I mean, if they beat Northwood and you beat Northwood, then I guess we don't really know. But I mean, even still, that was not Northwood looking weak. I would say there's still a lot of chances. And I think that's the main thing is you think about, oh man, Northwood, they're not even getting shots off. But in that Game 7 down the stretch, especially when they were on the comeback, Northwood wasn't panicking. I liked the passes they were making. It just Sienna Heights was on it. They were just completely smothering those touches. And that is so impressive to see. The team not back down, not get antsy, not play that prevent style defense. Let's sit back, park the bus. No, they say, you know what's worked for us? Just getting in the face Northwood, and we're just not going to change that. Just spectacularly done.
All I can say is that I can't wait to see them performing in the grand finals. But Taco, I mean, this raises so many questions for us. We are going to get an interview here in actually just a second. I think, did I hear that correctly? I think we got faded on the line right now yet again. So we'll go over to you, sir. Welcome back. Look, if I'm going to be honest, I don't think I expected you to be here, but I am glad that you are. Congratulations on the victory. I mean, you must be elated right now.
You know, it is what it is. Just Northwood. Another day in office. Is it not working? Oh my god.
Oh, there we go. We got
There we
you.
go.
Don't
I was
worry.
about to...
It all figures out.
All right.
There we go.
All right. As I was saying, you know, just another day in the office. Happens. It's hard. It's hard being just so talented.
All right, okay, all right. For a moment, I was gonna be very disappointed in that answer, but then, all right, I respect it. All right, so I don't even know where to begin here. I was like already mentally preparing myself to ask some questions to Northwood, but I mean, it's been a spectacular performance for you, and you know, I've already asked you so many questions about your feelings in the LCQ, but now, I mean, just what are your thoughts for anybody else that's looking at you guys and considering what you might be able to do as far as this next season of CRL and further in the NACE and Starleague playoffs here? Of course, only Stockton remains standing against you. What do you want to say to those people right now?
Last time we played Stockton, we won 3-1 pretty easily. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not scared of, especially that Bussy guy. Not scared of him. I think we'll be fine.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's the good stuff right there.
Those are those clippable moments, but of course, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that could hear comments like that and say, well, I mean, that's overconfidence. You're getting cocky. There's all these things that are like, oh, you're trying to be a villain. But really, I don't think you are. I think you guys genuinely believe that. That's the thing that I think I really enjoy about watching you guys play. I mean, I don't know if this is a conscious decision by you guys. I'd have to assume it is, but I always find that the players who challenge the teams like Stockton, who challenge the teams like Northwood and do well, are the ones who just get in the face. Was that something you were actively trying to do? Just make sure that they had limited time to set up those plays? Because it seemed like you guys were doing a spectacular job down the stretch.
Our biggest focus through the whole series, we came in thinking, all right, we play good defense, we'll win. Because every time we play against them, every time we win, we just don't give up stupid goals. Any game we haven't given up a dumb goal, we've won against Northwood. And since us three as a team versus them three on the team in paper, we're kind of at the lower, or they have the upper hand on paper. So we're like, we just play to our strengths, and not make any stupid decisions.
I gotta be honest, like the defense looked extraordinary, and that's kind of what we were commenting on, right? You know, is denying Northwood the space and time to be able to make their solo plays while simultaneously blocking off these passing routes. It looks like in just about every aspect you guys were killing it out there. And I think to that extent, what are you thinking about continuing down the line? You played to your strengths. Was this kind of like a pop-off day for you? Because it kind of looked like maybe you were popping out just a little bit out there, but at the same time, I could argue that the gameplay was so consistent, it doesn't even feel like that to an extent.
I don't think we were popping off. I think we had a solid rotation today. That's the biggest thing that we've had a concern of. There's a lot of off games for rotation, but we've all been playing the game a lot, trying to improve individually. So we're just getting better and better every game.
I think the one thing that I want to ask is that because we've already touched on, your future, being able to look forward, being able to shout out or really call out rather the teams that might be standing in your way in the future. But the one thing that I'm really curious about is you mentioned it's another day at the office. Of course, yeah, you're happy about it. But I mean, you did come in thinking you had this. And I want to ask you then a very kind of more lackadaisical or personality-based question. When you guys are scoring those really insane goals to get those leads, are you a team in the comms that says nice, or do you say like let's go? Because that's always the personality test of competitive players I'm always curious about.
See, we say both. Like during the last game 7, we said nice for the first 2, and then the third goal we said let's go. That's what I remember.
It's always one of those two for some reason. It's always one of those two.
But what about was the game winner in game 5? I think it was the overtime where it kind of like rolled out of the net and like rolled out. Or sorry, it was Decay who like came out of the net and just happened to have the ball like rolling at him, and then Ol Evans came across and scored it. What was the comms like for that one? Because that just seemingly counted.
It was a lot of random screaming, and then we scored. 11 screamed let's go. Kyle and Ethan screamed let's go, and I said nice very loudly. It was a lot of screaming.
A look inside the minds. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this is actually the top level tactical discussion that I like to have, because these are really what makes a team great. But obviously, you guys have proven on the field that you guys are more than capable of taking down anyone, and can't wait to see you in that grand final against Stockton. But I guess we'll let you go and I guess celebrate for the rest of your night to start off the week. But any shout outs you want to give now that you have a second chance to do so?
Shout out Tiffany. I know you're watching. Yeah, that's it. No one else watches me. Oh, shout out Ethan's mom. Shout out Mama Ethan.
Excellent. I see. You always got to shout out the esports moms, and of course Tiffany for that shout out. Faded, thank you so much for sitting down, and fantastic job. Enjoy the rest of your night. Oh my goodness. I'm still in shock by that game. Not because I know that it was not that Siena Heights had no shot, but the way that transpired. It wasn't like a drawn out game 7. That was just them grabbing the reins and then just leading a charge. That was incredible.
Yeah, well, like I said, being able to match pace with Northwood, I think was the most impressive thing for me. And like I was saying, Faded was saying, right? It was the defense that they focused on. It's like, hey, we just play good defense. We don't let these stupid mistakes happen, and we win. And I mean, looking back on it, right, they did not have very many silly mistakes on the defensive side. But more than that, than having like no silly mistakes, they had these amazing cutoffs in the midfield. Like every single time, it was like Northwood trying to do these creative passing plays, like we said, and they have been known for that for so long. But even when those things were happening, they were able to keep pace. I mean, we saw the same kind of infield passes that we expect most teams to get scored on, no matter what level they are, by Northwood, and Siena Heights was still able to defend them. And it was that kind of vision that really impressed me. So
and so with all of that said, it's just Siena Heights is a team that I admittedly I had a lot of schadenfreude about. I took pleasure in their pain when they did end up losing in qualifiers because they came in so cocky. But now I understand why. This is really them fulfilling, getting that chemistry. They had more time to play together, and I think it's really paying off. And I think it really speaks to me that communication, as Faded said, as long as they don't give up those dumb goals, they get a victory, and they do. They will be facing off in that grand final a little bit later on in the month against Stockton. And of course, with great communication comes great peripherals. So of course, we got to shout out Corsair the last time on stream here, because Corsair is one of our partners here on NACE Starleague, and it's a leading global developer and manufacturer of high performance gear and tech for gamers, content creators, and PC enthusiasts. From award-winning PC components and peripherals to premium streaming equipment and smart ambient lighting, Corsair delivers a full ecosystem of products that all work together to enable everyone from casual gamers to committed professionals to perform at their very best. So thank you so much to Corsair, and thank you so much to Siena Heights, Northwood, and North Texas for providing just a banger broadcast for our lower semis and finals. And certainly a path I did not anticipate us to take, but very glad I was along for the ride to do so.
And I mean, I don't know about you, Taco, but I kind of want to see the completion of the underdog story here for Siena Heights. And obviously, I've been talking about it all night long, but the LCQ coming up here, and I gotta rub the hands together and think to myself, like, if they could take down Northwood, think about what else they could do. If they make it out to Worlds through the LCQ, I would not necessarily be surprised, but I would be elated, to say the very least.
I mean, they got to go through a lot of teams, but certainly, as we said, we can take out another one, and who's really standing in your way. So, honestly, a lot of hype thrown the way of Siena Heights. Well done to them. They will be facing off in our grand final. So, of course, you got to peep that just a little bit later to make sure that you can stay involved with everything. But for right now, that's going to do it for us, Squid, here on the Rocket League side of the NACE Starleague broadcast. It's going to be a fantastic show in the future. But of course, stay tuned. Follow NACE on all the socials and CSL Esports on all the socials as well to be informed about the full ecosystem of collegiate broadcasts that we have coming up. And certainly for everyone watching, hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.